Okay, second part of finishing up this engine low pulley. We've still got quite a bit to do. Obviously the transmission is quite some work, and you can see me get right back into tweaking this. I don't want to model the exact beveled shape around the base of the transmission. I just want to create some sort of generic shape there to follow it. It's a little bit tricky getting that right, also because I sort of missed the detail of how the transmission connects to the engine at the bottom. I'll probably find something for that, model a little part, I don't know, I'll see. And then back to modeling this part of the transmission. Yeah, it's a problem. If you scale, it's going to scale on the center of the polygon selection and not the center of the entire engine. So basically, this is just the same approach we followed for the high poly with less detail. One thing I might want to do here is reduce the number of segments locally on that part, the extruded part of the transmission. Obviously, I need to well, that sort of bulge. These are really messed up in terms of their orientation, so I'm using snapping to get them back into the correct positions. And move these around. And there we go, that should be about right. Let's see, I'd like to jump around and just tackle different parts, but I think I need to stick with the engineer. Sometimes it's hard to stay focused on a difficult part, but you gotta take it to the end, right? So there we go. Well, this part. This one's really going to be very annoying and very tough to model as one piece with the rest of the transmission. Now you can think of it like this, like, oh God, why should I take all the trouble to connect these parts up again? Why should I model all these really difficult connections and these cuts? Can I just intersect these for once? Yeah, I thought about it like that too, but if you keep doing that for every part, then you're just going to end up with a model without that's full of intersections, and that is not really modeled as a single watertight piece. So I'm really trying to stay away from modeling too many parts separately, because one or two wouldn't hurt, but once I start doing it, I might just get lazy and do it too much, so I'm refraining from it completely. And this one isn't too hard to fix. Connect those. So see, that wasn't so bad to do. Now getting this cylinder to intersect is going to be a bit tougher. This is the segments and the edges don't really line up. Gonna have to do a lot of manual preparing for that. It's annoying because snap is a handy tool. In case you didn't know, we turned it on with S, but it doesn't always work that well, since it, especially with cut, it tends to cut towards the wrong parts and everything. Ugh, very annoying, but gotta live with it. So now I'm moving these to get them into sort of the right height. And target welding in case I have the chance to do so. And a few more cuts just to create the segments. Might seem sloppy to do it like that, but it's the only way. Yeah, and remove that edge. No clue I actually added that one. I didn't need it at all. Okay. It's easier to do this sort of stuff with in wireframe mode because you can just see more. Yeah, get rid of my n-gons. And that should be okay. Thinking about fixing this part now. See how I'm going to do this. That and bridge, and yeah, that should be about right. And I probably need to continue the back of the transmission as a low pulley here. Same thing, start from a box. And align it correctly. Not much to it. Go, just chamfer them. Silhouette should be fine. Remember, that part is completely hidden under the car, so I don't need to worry too much about it. I'm probably putting too much effort into it already, but as I said, engine showpiece should look good on its own. That's really what I'm keeping in mind. I want the engine to look good on its own. I'm not really going to end up showing the engine on its own too much, but it's a good exercise. And there we go, that should be good. Yeah, and I'm using these extra segments to add some more silhouette to it. Also, I hope everybody's comfortable with the speed. If a lot of people really feel I shouldn't speed it up this much, then I won't do it. But I'm not going to be able to talk every second of it full, so it's a bit of a trade-off. The more interesting stuff is going to come after this, so we just gotta hold out the modeling, and then we can get to more interesting, newer stuff. Been doing modeling for almost 2 months now, right? Okay, so same thing here. I gotta connect those. As always, start with an inset. Yeah, and I'm manually moving these into position since I can't rotate them correctly. Well, now I'm not going to do an inset. Sometimes it's easier to do it differently. Using bridge is just faster. Okay. And as I said, it bothers me that this supercharger just looks way too low poly. The silhouette isn't good. So I'm just doing a chamfer on it. Welding into lots of tries, but that's not a problem since it's a low poly mesh. Yeah. I've decided I should probably change that a little bit. since that was a really messy part. Going into tries and then back out of tries in that shape there, so I'm just gonna connect them decently. Bridge, there we go, something like that. That's a lot better. It just looked messy if I didn't do it like that. These positions need a little bit of tweaking. You can tell the side of the supercharger now really has a lot of segments, but that's absolutely not a problem because that's really going to be a very visible area, and to catch reflections and to give the normal map some breathing space so it doesn't have to do too much work, I want a lot of segments there. Okay, so what I'm gonna try and do now is use the little pulling meshes for the those guard bits around the top pulleys, and I'm just simply selecting all those edges, doing a loop and removing them via Control Backspace. That looks about right. Okay, now this one I think is more fun. The pulley at the front. It's cool because it's such a complex mesh, and I can make a really simple one, and in the end it's going to look really rewarding, and it's going to be fun to bake down. Well, we'll see about the fun part in baking. It's going to be fun to see the end result look really good with such a simple mesh. Just using bevel to get these right. See, I modeled all those little ridges on it, and none of that in my low pulley. There we go. Yeah, I need to reduce detail here. Weld every 2. That's the reason why I should work with even numbers of segments on cylinders. Always do that. Except for like that steering wheel, I used 5 there. That's just to save polygons. In extreme cases, yeah, you could do that. I'm gonna copy those parts, and I'm thinking I probably could optimize this mesh. I don't really have to, but it's faster to do it this way. And I'm just closing this up as simple as I can. And if I want to model the bolt on that, because it might be hard to get that out of it, rotate like that, and there we go. No intersections, way easier to bake if I do it like this. Yeah, this one should be simple to create. Of course, delete all those little parts. Remove those 2, and remove that. This one's going to be a bit more tricky to get right. I need to add chamfers because that mesh would never work as a silhouette. Yeah, well, these parts. Don't forget the backside. It's easily overlooked. And I'm just going to remove that one entirely. It's going to be easier. Just make it even simpler. I increased detail by chamfering the edges, reducing it a little bit by removing those extra lines. I mean, it's just adding detail where it matters, silhouette, and removing it where it's less important. Okay, so one exception here will be those parts that hang on the front of the engine, the box type things, I'm not going to attach those to the front because it's going to mess up my symmetry. I don't want to bother with that. Yeah, and this the belt at the front, since I used a spline for that, I can just use it for my mid pulley also. Just optimize it a little bit, and it'll work fine. Okay, so what else do I have to do here? There's that little box thingy at the side, and there's the pulley at the front. And I think the pulley at the front, yeah, I can just do that as one mesh. There we go. Set that a little bit. And like that. Yeah, auto smooth. I didn't do much smoothing groups on the engine yet. It's probably going to have to be done manually, but it's not such a problem. I'll see what auto smooth does for me first. Okay, we got a few details left to do. The part where the spark plug cables get divided, little box at the front, the spark plugs themselves, and yeah, that annoying system to control the blower valves. Auto smooth on the engine, it seems to work, but not at the back. Ooh, that's horrible. The front seems okay, but some parts are done pretty badly, and we'll fix that later. So here's that little box. We can keep that really simple. Just get a general silhouette done, and the normal map will fix that for me. We'll do more than make it just a box. It has to be a little bit more than that. Connect those. Connect. Move. There we go. And yep. Scale those out like that. And that should take care of a silhouette that's interesting enough. I could have kept it just a little bit of a rounded box, but I wanted to go further. And I might have to change that little part around it in the high pulley once I start baking. Okay, so for that part, it's a really annoying part just because it's so many stupid, simple, easy shapes that are going to require work, even though they're so minor and so insignificant. Don't need that. Cut that up. Remove those. Don't need any of that. Yeah, I'm trying to reduce the amount of segments on this thing. Remove those. And get rid of that too. There we go, same process all over, just remove the edges that are only there for turbo smooth. With simple objects like this, you don't have to do that much aligning to the surface. I'm pretty sure it'll work. And if it doesn't, then it's probably going to be a minor difference, and I don't feel like adjusting them. Just gotta set your priorities, right? Okay, so the blower valves, just separate meshes. Yeah, and I want to close those up. Why? Because I'm thinking maybe if I ever if I want one thing animated on that engine, it's the throttle being opened and the blower valves rotating along that axis. That would look very cool. Okay, so we're pretty much getting there for the engine now. We still have a bit to do. Shouldn't be too hard. Yeah, here, this part. I was talking about it before. Can't forget about that. 8 sides. Trying to align it. There we go. That should be correct. A little bit of modeling. Simple mesh. There we go. Yeah, and I'm not going to reuse the ones in the high pulley. Why? Because they probably have too many segments already. I really have to save segments on this. 5 is going to be the max I want on that. Just simple cylindrical shapes. And I'm intersecting those because, wow, that would be a lot of work for one stupid single part. So there I think it's okay to use intersection. And totally optimize the hell out of this part. Keep it really simple. Let's have a look at the high pulley to see how we can oh, there's still a part down there. Weld those. There we go. Oh yeah, it turns out that I think in the high pulley layer I'm also changing them because of some problems with the instance. So just trying to fix that up. I think I destroyed the high pulley once. Doesn't really matter, I just need one. It's only for show that I leave them there. Alright. And they're also there so I can align my low pulleys to it. That's another reason. I don't want to manually go and find those positions. Okay, that looks like we're pretty much done with the majority there. Can't forget about this little one. It's really easy to forget some of these parts. I sort of added that one just to have something there, so make sure I don't forget it because of that reason. Oh, and no modeling to make it one mesh there. Not worth the trouble anymore. This engine's been taking me a lot of time so far, and it needs to approach its final phase. Okay, I'm looking for anything else here. Number of polygons should be somewhere around 5,000. Total was about 14,000 there, which is okay. We still have the rear axle to work on a little bit. Not everything's done there. but I think the majority of our low pulley is almost done. Yeah, I can't forget to connect those, remove that, just to simplify things. And well, that's it for this engine part. There's still a small little part where we will be doing the rest. See you there.